Big mode too is only small mode. Both modes. Okay, that shows. But why doesn't the thumbnail show? That's the question. Yeah, we already had a picture for this. What the hell? So change that. I gladly appreciate that. Okay, everything's up. Need a carry on rivals Pookie M. Are you asking me or are you telling me? Like, are you asking me, do I need a carry? Or are you saying like I'm lost right now? Cause I was just talking to. I'm asking if you need it. Hell no. Plus I hit Diamond 3 last patch. It's just my teammates on Marvel Rivals been asked. I was just talking to Pierre about you actually. He was like, I played the game with King and I was like, what the fuck? I was like, where he at? He was like, he been in my server. I was like, damn, he ain't join or like talk to a nigga. Like I thought you know what I'm saying? So I was like, fuck. But I told Pierre to tell you this, that I said hi. But he said you've been in the I know you've been in the service, so you know what I'm saying. How's that been anyway? How's that been going, man? Has it been good? I be chilling. Oh, that's good, bro. I'm glad you've been chilling. That's great. I was hoping you was chilling. I got a friend that's in the army too. Well, he like more like he more of a Air Force type of guy. So you know how that be with the Air Force. Is it true that y'all have y'all own sections? Like y'all be calling each other like pussies and shit? Like y'all be like is that true? Put my camera a little bit over there. There we go. Woo! Fuck. And plus, this is just a stream test that I'm doing anyway. Yo, where has he been at? Now that I think about it. Oh, I was like, I know in the army, y'all be treating that shit like a gang. Y'all would hate this type of army. Like y'all would hate the Navy would hate the SEALs would hate the fucking Air Force, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, is that true or what? That's just a curious question, bro. Did you hear it now or no?
You have never seen an anime like this before. Peak is one of the most overused words in the anime community right now. I swear, people are calling anything peak now, as long as it's the newest shiny thing to enter our community. Hot new show everyone seems to be talking about. Peak. Flashy, well-animated fight scene just dropped. Peak! This man has aura. Oh, bro, that's fucking peak! It's been used so much that when a series comes along that embodies what that word should mean, I don't even want to call it that in case it cheapens the experience it
King,
brings.
are you subscribed to my YouTube channel?
The show has come along where no matter what word I use to describe
I don't know if you are or not.
I feel it wouldn't be doing it justice because no words I say can properly convey the experience it gave me. It is simply that good. An anime that is not just
No one fuck with the Air Force v Big Challenge. See, I told you. Y'all be treating that shit like a gang. Y'all motherfuckers be. Y'all motherfuckers be. I hate the Air Force. I hate this. I'm like, damn.
Something I feel many of us need to hear. A show
Like, is it that deep?
not just in the running of anime for the season or even anime of the year. It's right up there as
Let's see. I don't get it, bro. I don't get the hatred that y'all have for each other. I don't get it.
This decade will have the likes of Freeren, Dandadan, and Vinland Saga in it. That show was Orb on the movements of the earth. But before that, Anime Girls, thanks to today's sponsor, Girls Frontline.
Ah, hell nah. Not him hitting me with an ad.
And from April 10th, the new lead support doll Mech.
It ain't that deep. They just mad. We have AC and they don't. Is that true? Wait, where are you stationed at? Where are you stationed at? Tell me where you stationed at.
Back to Orb. It's alternate history Poland, a time when everyone knows the Earth is the center of the universe, and the church gets a little pissy if you imply anything but that, branding anyone who spreads opposing ideas as heretics and tries to make them see the light by making them see the light. Rafael, a normal kid searching for an easy life, has a chance meeting with a scientist and, under some extenuating circumstances, tells him about this little thought experiment that turns his whole world upside down. Or sideways. Or left to right. Or, yeah, I guess space technically doesn't have any direction. Rafael, you've become part of a bigger universe.
I'm in Japan. That's where my friend's at. He's in the Air Force in Japan.
Putting together a team. We're gonna call them...
I watched this anime, but I didn't finish it. I need to finish this anime, bro.
The idea that the very Earth they are standing on is actually moving. An idea so profound, so dangerous, it could get them tortured and killed. And yet this little conversation starts a domino effect of a journey spanning years.
Where he at? I don't know. I just know his name, Rashawn. That's it. I don't know specifically where he at.
Rotates around the sun, but ew, isn't that like boring space shit? Okay, first off, you don't find the concept of turning the world.
Bro said I might know what this. I don't know. Do you know what this?
Interesting. It's okay. I'll just find someone else to talk about all these 3-hour space facts to fall asleep to videos. And secondly, watching anime can sometimes be like eating pizza. I'm going somewhere with this, I swear. I've always got time for good pizza. Who doesn't love a good pizza? And there are
I wonder why doesn't this go in the small mode?
It's
so weird.
Familiar. A New York slice if you want to destroy your body in a great tasting way. Stone baked sourdough if you feel a little fancier. Some of you sickos like Hawaiian. It's okay.
Bro called people sickos for like a Hawaiian pizza. That's crazy.
Pizza. But at the same time,
gotta go back to work later. Later, man. Be safe, gang.
And I will continue to do so. But then, I remember the first time I tried skimen, a dish I would have never heard of if I didn't move to Japan, and it awoke something in me. A noodle dish burst full of flavor, unlike any ramen dish I tried, and right there and then, a new craving had formed. A craving I had never had.
Bro, look his chops like that. Hell nah.
Try new things, experiencing that first bite of this completely new dish, something you've never tasted before, gets harder and harder to find, and it's moments like that that reminds you there is more to life than just pizza. What was I talking about again? Orb is so far removed from any concept I've seen in anime before, and that's such a rare feeling to have now. Does that mean you're necessarily gonna fuck with it because it's something new? No, but Orb is one of those cases where exploring something new allows them to do something magical with it that you rarely get to see in other anime. Right off the opening bat, the show sets up its world, sets up its goals. We're gonna drop the biggest bombshell this globe has ever seen, and we're gonna do it without getting caught. You understand what's happening, you get the general direction the story is heading, and that's the exact moment it grabs you by the neck and choke slams you onto the ground for thinking you were smart enough to know where the plot was taking you. Almost immediately, you realize the stakes are real and it is not here to fuck around. As soon as you think you know what is going to happen next is the exact point where you should be the most afraid. It is rare nowadays that a series does something that is genuinely able to surprise me once, and yet Orb was able to do it like half a dozen times. This is a show that doesn't play by the book, it rips it apart and writes its own, all led by the greatest anime villain we've seen of this decade thus far. Normally when we talk about anime, we use other anime as a frame of reference, but I haven't seen a character as terrifying as Novak since Christoph Waltz's performance.
And I always thought, like, why wasn't people fucking bro up or trying to like end him in the show? But I guess he was that terrifying throughout the lands that people was just that pussy. I guess you could say, yeah, people was just that pussy.
Sheer presence doubles your blood pressure when he's on screen, demanding your attention in every scene he's in and refusing to let go. A smart, calculated man, ruthlessly efficient at his job of catching heretics, but the most terrifying thing of all is that he's someone who sees themselves as completely in the right, and can use that as justification to enact some of the most heinous things a person can bring.
See, me and my friend Khalil watched this before, but we didn't finish it. I kind of want to finish it with him. I should ask him because this shit is so fire.
Do not know which direction a scene is going to go. Are we going to continue moving forwards? Is it going to head sideways, or is Novak dragging us all into hell? And you think that if you just let your guard down for a single second, somehow it'll affect the fates of the
oh shit, what's up, gang? How you doing?
It has been so long.
King was just in here. You just missed him.
Me feel that. And yet, this high-stakes cat and mouse game.
King was like literally just in here. Well, what the hell? My chat is at the bottom left like that.
That's
a little weird.
Rafael, a boy too
Chilling,
smart for his
chilling,
age
hell
who just
yeah.
wants an easy life.
I'm gonna stream just only for an hour, and I don't know if you want to watch Kenichi though, but I'm streaming on YouTube to get my like watch hours. You know what I'm saying? I need my watch hours, so I'm just streaming on
following the story of
YouTube.
one character, and you'll think this
Just got
is
back
him.
home.
This
That's
is my guy.
noise.
You'll get invested in his story,
Fucking
get
noise.
intrigued on their life perspective, start believing the same things they do, cheer for them to come out on top, and that's when the story will switch perspectives to some random ass
Shit,
character.
get to that
and
shit,
you're
boo.
like, who is this man? Who does this
Nigga
fraud
here.
think he is? This is not my guy. Then, through one single conversation, you'll perch up
I wonder
and
does
think,
YouTube
hold on,
have a chat?
let's hear what he has to say. You'll get invested in their story, get intrigued on their perspective of
Does
life,
YouTube have a
start
chat?
believing the same things they do, cheer for them to come out on. This happens like 4 or more times. There is no protagonist here, only people working towards a common goal of the pursuit of truth, no
Yeah,
matter
YouTube
what the
doesn't have a
obstacles
chat.
are. Each of different ages,
Damn.
ideals, goals,
So
and beliefs
weird.
with a personal philosophy shaped by their own life experiences, and all
I do
somehow
want
as
to finish
interesting
this
as
though,
each
so
other.
I'm gonna
It is
stop watching
bloody
but real
impossible
shit.
to
Hell
choose a
yeah.
favorite character here. Every single person
We do need to finish
has their
this shit
own
though. Just
reason
let
for
me
being
know.
a part of all this. Some of them with completely
hot.
opposing philosophies, and the series constantly lets them go at each other. One character will make a point, and you'll be like,
その神に人格はないし解釈も不可能私はただ神の作った自然を崇拝するだけだ
damn, okay, maybe this guy's got a point. Then another character will retort, being like,
ちょっと待って。自然を崇拝すること自体が一つの解釈なんじゃ。
okay, wait, let him cook. Dialogue is one of the most amazing things this show does. Listen to this. The thing you oppose isn't me, nor is it heretics. It's part imagination and part curiosity. In short, it's truth itself. It spreads like an epidemic. Not even the host can control it. It's not the sort of harmless thing that can be tamed by an organization. Now, how hard does this quote go? And yet, it is one of just countless uttered by
pretty
every
tough.
single character you meet that can make enough inspirational plaques to fill up a Midwestern mum's bathroom. A wrong answer isn't a meaningless one. Heliocentrism is my faith. Do you think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created? Actually, I think that's a quote from Spy Kids too. This anime is a
Yeah, it was.
non-stop
I was like,
battleground of
what?
ideas, and the chosen weapon is spoken word. It is a dense series, incredibly dense. Dense in character, dense in ideas, denser than the Earth itself, denser than a neutron star. Not as dense as your mum. Yet somehow, it feels like there's never any fat to it. Every scene, every conversation serves a purpose. Even if it's not directly
Well,
moving the
can
plot
you
along,
change
the
the
characters
quality?
themselves never stand still.
Oh, you can.
Meta-
Okay, that's good.
metaphorically
I
speaking,
love that.
there's a lot of slang around in this anime. And yeah, for an anime that initially seems to be about sticking it to the church, yeah, science, bitch, pursuit of truth. Not once does it ever feel
Toxic
like it's
Clover.
preaching to you. It would have been so
What's up,
easy
sexy?
to try and preach a message, yet through its characters,
How you
it
doing?
presents a point of view from both sides and allows you to come to your own conclusion,
How you
even
doing,
if it's
man? How
not
you doing? How you doing? How
necessarily
you
the
doing, man?
same
How you
ones
doing?
the characters come to. Because with each passing conversation, you can slowly see the impact each character makes on each other's ideology.
put it
Little
in-
by little,
he
they
put it
change each
full
other.
on,
One
like-
person will completely stand for one thing, and then 5 episodes
put the
later,
hell
through
full.
interacting with the people around them, you see the character make a major decision that seemingly goes against everything they initially stood for. These aren't just well-established three-dimensional characters.
I'm
This
just
is an
I'm just
absolute
finishing out my
masterpiece of
watch hours,
character-driven
man.
storytelling. Characters will talk.
That's basically what I'm
affect each
doing.
other, shoulder the words of the people they meet, and change. Not necessarily for the better, not necessarily for the worse.
Does my
but
camera
what's
look weird? I feel
necessary
like my
for
camera look
them.
weird.
People will die without achieving their dreams, their ambitions left unfulfilled. Yet not once do you feel like anyone left this story not finding what they were truly looking for. And it's fucking
I wonder if my
beautiful.
stream-
I really cannot put into words how awe-inspiring the writing is here. Isaac Newton is one of the greatest scientists in history. This is a man who discovered the laws of motion, the laws of gravity, fundamental laws we still use today hundreds of years later. Then, as a side project to study the movements of the moon, accidentally invents an entire branch of mathematics you might recognize called calculus. All before the age of
What's it
26.
called?
And yet,
Calculus.
he had the audacity to say, if I've seen further, it is by standing on the shoulder of giants. This series embodies the spirit of that quote to its core. There are few shows that can so wonderfully showcase the true depth of the human spirit as Orb. Without power levels, without any screaming men pushing past their limits, it shows that progress is a collaborative effort achieved through the sharing of ideas and perspective, right and wrong. It is not a single person, it is people that write the course of history. People that have found a belief they will stand for against all odds. Barriers be
facts.
damned. A belief shaped
This is a
by
beautiful ass
listening to the
anime.
people
I need to
around
finish
them.
this shit,
Remember these
bro.
two? Well, their conversation ends like this.
あなたが正しいとは全く思わない。
そのままお返しさせていただく
Here are two people that can find no middle ground, and yet by simply acknowledging each other's viewpoint can still come to understand, affect, and eventually even trust in each other, and goddamn, is that not the kind of hope we need? The series puts every single one of these characters in a place where their truth is challenged, and asks, what is the right way to act when it happens? Cause the longer the series goes on, the more you realize it was never about proving heliocentrism was true, but that belief, blind belief, is one of the most dangerous mindsets you can have, no matter what that belief is. And that, I think, is one of the most important messages we all need to hear. In a time when it feels like the world could never be more divided, when nobody can seemingly agree on anything, this series shook me to my core. If Vinland Saga taught you that you have no enemies, Orb tells you it's okay to also just listen to them. It shows that true strength comes not from those who are always right, but from those who can concede when they are wrong. It's a reminder that you don't always have to agree, but that doesn't mean you cannot understand and empathize, because you are a part of something bigger. The world is so much larger than the little bubble you make for yourself, and with or without you, will continue moving. So, if that's the case, you
Just
should
keep believing,
never
man.
forget to continue moving forwards with it.
Nigga
Orb
spitting.
is a series about moving the earth, and that includes all of us.
That was tough. That was fucking tough.
Hey guys, hope you enjoyed that video. Thank you very much this month too. Author
That nigga
Curtis
hasn't
Eckstein,
dropped in a
Basil,
minute.
Dysfunctional Degenerate, Flabberwocky.
He hasn't dropped in a fat ass minute. Yeah. He been chilling. But he drop every month though, so it's like, yeah. She's like the fucking, like, I don't know. I'm not watching Darling and Frank. I cannot. I'm not watching that fucking shit. I was supposed to watch this video.
The Persona
I was supposed
games
to
have had
watch
a
this
pretty
video.
huge impact on my mental health, and I think it can maybe do the same for you. I'm not going to say something silly like it can completely change your life or cure your depression, but it can definitely teach you to love what you hate most in your life, and that's a very
That
good
was
start.
kind of cool, but it went
At
through
least
his
I
head.
think so. Let me paint the picture for you. I was in 11th grade with no friends, no motivation, or desire to see my life continue past the age of 17. I had just moved to a new state. I came from a place where everyone looked like me to a place now where no one looked like me. I can't entirely blame not having friends on the fact that I was a black and
Bro,
Hispanic
clean.
kid
Bro,
in an all-white
clean though. Look
neighborhood.
at him.
I
He in
had
a
a hard
fucking
time making
turtleneck and
friends
shit.
long before that, until I met someone. I wasn't exactly sure when we became friends. It happened somewhere between the times we nodded at each other in the hallways and the times we got assigned as partners in projects.
Okay.
Regardless of when it happened, he was an outcast just like me and had a lot of interests that weren't common, at least for the time. He was really into Undertale and the Persona games. Now, these are pretty common interests nowadays, but at the time, he struggled to find anyone who really even knew what either of those things were. So
Facts.
needless to say, he really wanted me to try playing both of those games. And he pushed for it until I finally just gave it a shot. We started with Undertale. He downloaded a copy of it onto a USB that I took and played over the course of a week. And it was one of the most beautiful experiences I've ever had.
I still never
I
played
loved it and
Undertale,
became
like
obsessed.
ever.
Not as much as he was obsessed, but I still love the game very much to this day. And there was just something beautiful about sharing an interest like this with someone who was really passionate about it. After that,
That's
we were
fire.
great friends. We'd hang out at lunch and skip school to go do dumb shit. Once we even went to a mall and I saw this Japanese painting that I thought was gorgeous, but it's actually pretty hideous. I like it though. And crazily enough, he bought the painting for me. I'm getting a bit off topic.
Yeah,
I
let's stay
did
on topic,
eventually
bro.
try playing the Persona games. He recommended I start with Persona 5, and I did. The long tutorial really drove me away, and I just never really got too far into the game. Years later, we graduated high school, and we just kind of drifted apart, lost each other's contact information, and just stopped being friends. I think about him often, and I thought about him more back then than I do today. Regardless, 3 years later, after we graduated high school, I found out that he passed away in a motorcycle accident. I took this pretty
Damn.
hard at the time. I was young, he was very young, and I guess to find a way to be closer to him, I started playing Persona 5.
Persona,
I gave it
yeah.
a shot again, but this time I was much more determined to complete it. I wanted to experience every single part of this game to find out why he loved it so much. I never did find out why he found the game so special. I just have guesses. But I can never really know for sure now. That time has passed, I guess. But in my search, I found something else. I learned how to love the things that I hate in my life. See, I have a problem, and I think there's a chance someone watching this video might have the same problem, if not many of you. I can't stand living. I don't mean literally living, I mean the act of living. I mean doing things day to day to stay alive.
Like working a job. Like I get what he's saying. Like he's saying like he hates living, like working a fucking job and sitting there for 8 hours, but you know that's what you got to do to survive. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh damn, I gotta spend $200 to $300 on food. You know you gotta survive. I gotta pay these fucking lights. You gotta have the lights on, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get what he's saying. He not even on some like some, you know what I'm saying, injured shit type shit. But I get what he's saying.
I'm
I get what he's
talking
saying.
about deciding what to eat every day. Folding
See?
clothes, working, food shopping, doing
I know it.
schoolwork.
I know
You
it.
get the point.
I know
just
it,
hate
bro.
I hate
I know
every
it.
minute of it, and
I get it, bro.
caused a lot of issues with my mental health. But after playing Persona 5, I think I understood what I was missing. The game does a great job in making life look so happy, from hanging out with friends, working, completing schoolwork, to something as simple as doing laundry. It does this in a few ways. Well, first, there's the great UI design that is so satisfying to experience.
Yeah, the
music
UI is
that plays
great.
throughout your activities, and even the little music note jingle you get when you level up a social stat. It's all very satisfying. There's even some beautiful rain that you can experience sometimes. Also, the protagonist, Joker, always looks so excited after he's completed a task that most people would hate, including me. All this together actually made an experience for me that resulted in me enjoying the mundane things in the game. I enjoyed studying in the rain more than I enjoyed the combat in Persona 5. I wanted to rush through palaces so I could just go back to doing the mundane stuff like working or reading books. So why is it that I could enjoy these tasks in a Persona game and not in real life? The first answer is pretty obvious. Doing laundry in real life sucks so much more than doing it in a game. But that still doesn't explain why I enjoy doing it in the game so much. I think the answer lies in romanticization. Persona 5 romanticizes life through all those little things I mentioned earlier that it does. Here's a clearer definition of what romanticizing life looks like. To romanticize life means to view and experience it with a sense of intentional beauty, gratitude, and appreciation for the simple pleasures. It's about enhancing everyday moments and finding joy in the little details. Exactly what Persona 5 does. So learning this, I tried to implement this into my own life. There's many ways to do this, and I've done a few different things. For example, I love the rain. I started to listen to music with the rain in the background when doing things I hated, food shopping or doing dishes. I would light candles and watch an ambiance video on a projector while I studied. It's not the whole picture. Remember how I said Joker just looks so happy and excited to be completing these mundane tasks? I think gratitude is a big part of it. But when you're sad or depressed, gratitude is hard. And sometimes when you're trying to be grateful, it just feels like you're bullshitting because you don't really mean it. What I started to do that has changed my life can maybe help you too. I started saying things like, I get to decide what to eat today. Instead of saying, I have to decide what I want to eat today. I get the opportunity to study and build a future, not I have to study. This small change of verbiage is huge. At first, it feels like a waste of time. But after enough time, I really started to believe and feel all these statements to be true. I rewired my brain somehow to just not hate it so much and just be grateful that I can be here another day on Earth. It really helped reshape my perspective on all those daily tasks. That's how I now love the things that I hated, and maybe you can too. I hope this helps anyone, even a little bit. I'd love to hear what you think. I read every single comment on my channel, and yeah. Dedicate this video to my friend. Your memory lives on with me, and I still have that painting you gave me. I take it with me everywhere I go now. And if you're here for my challenge runs, don't worry, I'm still doing that. Just branching out and doing more types of videos that I feel like I need to make. Just remember, you're worthy, you're beautiful, and I will catch you next time.
That was a great video. That was dope as shit. That was cool. That was cool as shit. So he do speedrun videos, but he just wanted to like... Okay, that was a good video, bro. That was a good perspective that he had on life, which a lot of people struggle to have. That's pretty fire. I like that, bro. That was nice. I remember I was supposed to watch that movie. Haven't. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Life after school. Fuck no, I'm not watching that. I don't feel like watching people talking about small games. Nah.
Hiatus, a word most manga fans are familiar with. Due to the intense physical and mental demands of creating manga, most series experience a hiatus once or twice during publication, but there are a few series that probably come to mind above all else when the word is mentioned. Hunter x Hunter, Berserk, and Vagabond. While all three are known for extensive and frequent hiatuses,
I want to
one
read
of them
Vagabond.
stands out. Hunter x Hunter has spent most of its lifespan on hiatus, but every year or so Togashi releases a batch of chapters. As a matter of fact, just recently he posted a picture of himself working on the manga to Twitter. Berserk also spent many years on and off hiatus, but with Miura's unfortunate passing a few years ago, the reins shifted to Studio Gaga, and they have been releasing chapters more or less regularly ever since. So that leaves Vagabond, which hasn't seen a new chapter since 2015. Takehiko Inoue has finished manga before, massively popular and critically acclaimed ones at that. He's also still working on another series, albeit very infrequently, which was last updated as recently as a few months ago. So why has Vagabond, viewed by most as his greatest work, Inoue himself included, been untouched for the better part of a decade? What led to this man practically abandoning his masterpiece? Well, to understand that, we have to go back to the beginning.
What the hell?
Inoue was born January 12th of 1967 in Kagoshima, a prefecture at the southern tip of Japan's Kyushu island. From an early age, Inoue was fond of drawing, and he always assumed he would work in some artistic field, but he was unsure of which direction he would take. Despite reading manga as most kids did, becoming a manga artist wouldn't be a thought in his mind until years later. It was the experiences he had in high school that eventually led him down this path. In junior high, Inoue would join both the kendo and basketball clubs at his school,
okay.
the latter in
Bro was a
order to
hooper?
impress girls. Does that sound familiar? Similar to the main character of his manga Slam Dunk, he joined for superficial reasons, but found himself falling in love with the sport and growing immensely because of it. His team was not very good. They lost more than they won, but through all the losses and the occasional wins, he learned many things. He came to greatly appreciate the progress he made with his team, something he would hold on to all his life and eventually put in his manga. This energy was also something he found in a certain manga series. Around this time, Inoue discovered Dokuben, a baseball manga created by Shinji Mizushima. The manga displayed an immense passion for team sports, something Inoue himself had just recently developed, and immediately Inoue felt a connection to this story. It's hard to find out much about this series online. All I could find were some scans of the manga as it was originally published, meaning in Japanese. But what I could make out from the illustrations was that a rough, delinquent sort of character rolls into this high school and joins a baseball team. Now, pairing that with Inoue's experience in his high school basketball club, we get a pretty vivid picture of how Slam Dunk was formed, though it would be quite some time before that would happen. Inoue's discovery of Dokuben is almost certainly what set him down the path of becoming a manga artist. It came at the perfect time, a transitional period where he was unsure of the direction he wanted to take with his life. At the end of his senior year in high school, Inoue came to an impasse. He desperately wanted to become an artist, but he felt his skills weren't at a high enough level to pursue fine arts in university. This is a bit ironic looking back because Inoue has some of the most stunning,
why does dude stop making videos? What the fuck? He was getting hella views. He just
That
stopped?
style is something he would develop after years of experience. Instead of taking any formal art training, save for a prep school course in the summer of his senior year, Inoue went to Kumamoto University to study literature. Now, you may be thinking this is where he developed his phenomenal writing skills, his ability to create intensely emotional characters and philosophical plotlines, but it's not. Inoue dropped out before even completing his first year. You see, while he was studying, Inoue was sending manuscripts to Shonen Jump rookie contests. Within a few months, his work was noticed by editor Taizo Nakamura, who not only encouraged him to continue drawing, but also got him a gig as an assistant on a popular series titled City Hunter, created by Hojo Tsukasa. It's under Tsukasa's wing that Inoue would really begin to flourish, spending 10 or so months learning from a bona fide and popular pro. The following year, 1988, Inoue would submit a one-shot titled K-Day Purple to Shueisha for the semi-annual Tezuka contest, and he'd go on to win the grand prize. This award is a massive step for manga artists, and it served to launch the careers of many of the most successful creators the medium has ever seen. Yoshihiro Togashi, Takeshi Obata, Masanori Morita, Hiroyuki Takei, and of course Inoue himself. Needless to say, the award itself was a huge milestone for Inoue, but the work he submitted was equally as, if not more, important. Sports manga have always been popular, but prior to K-Day Purple there had never been one about basketball, Inoue's most cherished sport. With the major success of the one-shot, Inoue was ready to take on a serialization. Taking all he had learned and using the knowledge that a basketball manga would do well, Inoue began working on Chameleon Jail. I'll bet you thought I was going to say Slam Dunk, and honestly I was a bit
I thought he
shocked
was,
when
I'm
I
not
read
gonna
the
lie.
series too, but Slam Dunk wouldn't start until the following year. Inoue worked as the illustrator alongside Kazuhiko Watanabe on Chameleon Jail, a story about a shape-shifting detective from the end of July to October 16th of 1989. It lasted only a couple volumes, so clearly it was not a big success.
Yeah, it was not
Little
good.
is known about the creative process behind this obscure manga from the 80s, but based on the following trajectory of Inoue's career, one can only assume the experience on the series convinced Inoue that it would be best to work alone. And boy, was that ever a good decision, because his next work would explode into Japan's cultural zeitgeist and leave an impact that lasts to this day.
Slam Dunk.
In
1998. That
Inoue
shit look
began
clean.
Slam Dunk. This series combines everything Inoue has learned about manga with his immense passion for the sport of basketball into what is arguably, and you'd have a damn easy time making this argument, the greatest sports manga of all time. Slam Dunk was a massive success almost instantly. Its eye-catching art and lovable characters grasped audience attention and never let go. Slam Dunk follows Sakuragi Hanamichi, a rather slow delinquent teen who joins his high school's basketball team in order to impress a girl, only he has no skills for the sport whatsoever. As the plot progresses, Sakuragi grows both in skill and as a person, and comes to form indestructible bonds with his teammates. It's an underdog story through and through. Sakuragi's unabating efforts to improve deeply
Damn!
resonated with the Japanese readers. It took only a few months of publication for Inoue to begin receiving letters from fans describing how much they loved the story, and more importantly, how it inspired them to take up playing basketball. Deeply moved, Inoue would pour even more of his heart into the story. 3 years later, Slam Dunk would get a TV anime adaptation, sending basketball's popularity in Japan to the f***ing moon. I could go into much more detail about the cultural revolution behind this manga, but that isn't exactly what this video is about. Still, this is important context for Inoue's career, so let's do a rapid-fire round of facts. Between
Yes, sir.
1990 and 1995, over 1 million Japanese citizens began playing basketball through high school and recreational leagues. Volumes 21 through 23 shattered the initial book print run with 2.5 million copies each, a record that wouldn't be broken until 2002 by a certain pirate
Bro, that
manga.
video I
In
changed
1990
the title for went up in views. See, I told you. In the entertainment. How many views you got now? I told you, bruh. That's good. See, Khalil, I knew you wasn't a loser. I believed in you.
94, the
fucking
series was
knew it.
awarded the 40th annual Shogakukan
I was like,
Award
you
in
can't be the
shonen
only one. I
category.
was like, I know sometimes my videos don't go up in views, but I was like, it's no fucking way. Like yours just don't go up at all. I was like, it gotta be something. So I'm glad we checked and changed the title. Shit, that's good.
Slam
How
Dunk
many
remains
views is
to
it,
this
though?
day, 30 years later, the best-selling sports manga of all time, with over 170 million copies in circulation worldwide. Slam Dunk was the first manga Inoue put his all into. He pulled things
541?
out of his heart and soul, threw them on the page, and
fucking
sold
good.
millions of copies. His
541,
deep,
and it's
intense
not
love for the
bad.
sport is evident
So
all the way through to the
always
end of the
repost
series
the
and
video
even past
again,
into
like, you know what I'm
his
saying, like wait a couple days, wait till Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and post it again. You know what I'm saying? It's not that bad to always post it again. Better than anything I've gotten on mid TikTok, yeah. YouTube Shorts could be the way
later
too. I'm not gonna
career.
lie.
It wouldn't be
Shit,
ridiculous to
just
claim
keep
that
it
he
up, but
might
then
have
just post
even
it
more
again
passion for basketball
on like
than
Saturday or
manga.
Sunday.
Following the
or like
very,
Friday.
very successful years of Slam Dunk's publication,
And you might get some more
Inoue would
views,
launch
too.
a short online manga called Buzzer
For YouTube,
Beater.
it's kinda
Again,
easier with the
story was
shorts
about basketball. That
and
bug
fucking
just
TikTok.
couldn't escape his mind. He loved it way too much. But it would only last 2 years, 4 volumes total. After Buzzer Beater, Inoue was hardly drawing anything and was seriously considering just ending his manga career. That was when an editor handed him a novel. There was no intention to spark inspiration. He did this simply to help Inoue kill time. That novel was Musashi by Eiji Yoshikawa, a fictionalization of famed philosopher Miyamoto Musashi's life. Inoue cracked the book open, began reading, and was awestruck. His hands started shaking with the desire to draw these characters. Later that year, Vagabond would begin publication.
Damn. That look fucking clean.
From page
drawing
one, the impact
crazy.
Yoshikawa's novel had on Inoue is evident. Inoue said he wanted to draw these characters and this story, but when you read Vagabond, it seems more like he was born to do so. Feudal Japan is illustrated with incredible detail.
Slam Dunk, he made that, but Vagabond, he just kind of like helped it out because it was originally a story from somebody else. So I guess you could say he was like a co-host, yeah, like co-host or like, yeah.
Series is filled with many stunning illustrations of nature.
But he drew this
sometimes
shit through and
focus on
through, so
small
yeah, you can say
details,
that,
such
yeah.
as a blade
It's
of grass
crazy.
or a droplet of rain with precision that seems inhuman. Incredibly, this level of detail would remain throughout the series even after he switched from using pens to brushes for the art. What the brush
Yeah.
lacks in control, it makes up for with line fluidity. Inoue's line work is so seamless it almost feels like it's breathing, but somehow Inoue manages to keep the same detail with his brushwork that he had with his pens.
This is crazy,
How?
bro.
I couldn't begin to tell you, but why he made that choice? That I can. See, Inoue was inspired by the director Akira Kurosawa, who has such an incredible laundry list that we'd be here for hours if I went through it. But Kurosawa produced the most iconic samurai movies of all time, so naturally Inoue saw it as the gold standard and wanted his work to be reminiscent of it. The switch over to brushes was in order to capture that gritty, dark feeling Kurosawa's films embodied. But reading through Vagabond, it's clear Kurosawa had a large impact on the way Vagabond is laid out. Vagabond, as a samurai story, of course has many battle scenes. Every last one of them is illustrated beautifully and paneled in a way that flows like you're watching a film. Having just worked on a sports manga, something that obviously includes a lot of physical activity, Inoue mastered the ability to accurately depict the human body's movement. Pairing that with the subject matter and inspirations of Vagabond, Inoue created a samurai story Kurosawa himself would have in all likelihood very much appreciated. Inoue had a lot to say with Vagabond. He wanted to cover more complex concepts such as life and death and the human condition, but he also felt that the Japanese people had lost touch with their history. He himself certainly had, so he hoped that he could spark some interest in it through Vagabond. Well, that he certainly did. Vagabond was a massive success. In the year 2000, he won the grand prize at the 4th Japan Media Arts Festival. Later that year, Vagabond won the 24th annual Kodansha Manga Award in the general category. 2 years
Fire.
after that, Vagabond won Inoue the grand prize of the 6th Tezuka Osamu Cultural Award, which is one of the most,
shit.
if not the most, prestigious award in manga.
Okay.
But before all that, Inoue would start up a second series in 1999, running in tandem with Vagabond. This series was titled Real. It follows 3 high school students, 2 of which are wheelchair-bound, who make efforts to better themselves through the sport of basketball. After seeing televised games of wheelchair basketball, Inoue was inspired. He saw these athletes pursuing the sport they and Inoue alike love in spite of their physical condition, and
Yo,
he
he-
needed to draw it.
he a W,
Real is
bro.
an intensely emotional story, one that confronts some of the hardest subjects in life. Characters experience an array of struggles and emotions. They face the fear that they are not enough, question whether they even can be enough because of their disabilities, but continue to try regardless of any of that. Vagabond and Real are both stories that do an incredible job of exploring the human condition, what it means to live, how one should go about living, but they do it from 2 different perspectives. Vagabond is a very solitary story. It follows one man on a self-centered path who, through his isolation, comes to realize the error in his ways. Whereas Real follows multiple characters who feel limited by their own condition, and it is through other people that they grow. This is speculation, but with what we know about Inoue's life, how he values team sports and the bonds formed from them, it seems likely that Real's way of addressing these topics was more personal and approachable to Inoue. There's also no denying Inoue's love for basketball as a sport. Regardless, both series would continue to be massively successful, winning awards and selling millions of copies, neatly coexisting for over a decade, but I think we all know where this is going.
Where's it going, bro? Tell me about it.
In April of 2009, Inoue was interviewed by Japanese newspaper Nihon Ippon Shimbun. That was very hard to pronounce for me. At this time, both Real and Vagabond were being regularly and successfully published. Inoue tells the interviewer that he suspects Vagabond will end in a year or 2, though he wasn't exactly sure of how it would end. He was certain that the pieces of his story were taking their final positions. The next year, 2010, Inoue reaffirms what he said in the interview, but that summer, Inoue falls ill and both his series go on hiatus. In October, he holds another interview where he states his health is much better and speaks on the state of Vagabond. But you must feel the desire to draw manga though, right? Vagabond in particular. The interviewer asks. I'd reached a point where I wasn't even sure of that. I became unsure of where I was heading, couldn't even remember where I'd started from in the first place. That's how busy I was. I was stuck doing the work for external factors for so long that I'd forgotten to look inside myself. Inoue responds. He then adds, well, speaking in terms of what I want to do, as I said before, I really don't at all have the urge to work on it right now. But I do know that if I don't work on it, I'll be in trouble down the road. And that's basically what was keeping me going until I went on hiatus. I don't think that's a good way of going about it. My hope is to stay away from Vagabond until all those unnecessary worries and emotions are gone, and I'm ready to draw it because I want to draw it. I'm not sure if I'll be allowed to wait that long though.
Yeah.
December of 2010, Real resumes publication. Vagabond stays on hiatus. Inoue posts to his blog saying Vagabond will stay on hiatus until he regains enthusiasm for the series. When asked why that is the case and if working on two series is so different, Inoue responds, totally different. With Real, I almost never worry about trying to do something completely original or express things stylishly, or at least I don't in terms of the artwork anyway. Vagabond is where I try to do new things with the art and draw the best that I can. So in that sense, drawing is pure enjoyment, whereas Real is me drawing squarely within my normal capabilities. It's like I've got two different modes. The process is almost like cooking with Real. Vagabond is something more personal. There's no formula. It feels like I'm making something that's not quite manga. Vagabond is almost something like running around a mountain or swimming in a river, in that there are no rules, but I have to use everything I have in me, in every situation, which is also what's so exhausting about it. I've been putting a ton of effort into the whole manga process for Real lately, and I've rediscovered a joy in it that Vagabond never gave me. The joy of manga, and being a professional manga artist. It must be how everyone else feels when they're drawing manga. Inoue seems to see working on Vagabond as a pursuit of perfection, or if not that, then something quite close. He feels this pressure to make it original and as good as it can possibly be. After recovering from an illness, he had no motivation to work on Vagabond because of that self-imposed pressure, but with Real he felt he could just enjoy drawing manga. It came to him easier, and I think that the content of the story, being basketball, improving oneself through an activity, not only felt more comfortable with Inoue's interests, but with where he was at creatively. He was trying to learn to enjoy drawing manga again, to improve his approach to working on his manga just like his characters in Real. Vagabond would remain on hiatus until March of 2012 with the release of Chapter 301. All the while, Real would continue its publication with a new chapter every month or so. It wasn't a completely regular schedule, but it was being published nonetheless. When Vagabond returned in 2012, it stayed until 2014, releasing nearly 3 full volumes worth of chapters. In February of 2014, following the release of Chapter 322, Inoue announced the series would be going on a 4-month hiatus for research purposes.
Damn.
That hiatus lasted nearly a year. In January of 2015, Inoue released Chapter 323. In February, 324, March 325, April 326, May 327, and that was the final chapter ever released. At this point, Real also began a long hiatus. No chapter was seen until 2019, and that year saw only 3. Chapters 85 through 93 of Real were published between 2019 and 2021.
Like better.
Chapter 9 was published earlier this year. Inoue's manga all saw great success. He loved the stories he created, so why? It's hard to say why someone does or doesn't do something when you're not that person, but what isn't hard to say is that writing is hard. Writing good stuff is, anyway. Anyone can write some schlock and ship it off to publishers, but that isn't what Inoue has been working with. In his hands, Inoue has a masterpiece. It's clear he holds Vagabond with an extreme level of reverence in his mind, and when both a wide audience and you yourself view the thing you've created as an important piece of art, the pressure is just unimaginable. Based on what he has said, it's clear Inoue refuses to continue Vagabond unless what he creates is absolutely perfect, an ideal that is made all the more hard to obtain by the pressure he puts on himself, one that is also exacerbated by the expectations of millions of fans waiting around the world, an expectation that increases as every single day passes. For Inoue, it is easier to fall back on Real, a story that does not have those personal and worldwide expectations on it, a story he actually enjoys writing, not doing so under the ever-present shadow of perfection like he has to with Vagabond. As consumers consumers, it's easy for us to sit in our lazy boy recliners and complain about the lazy writer. Just draw the manga already. Just write Winds of Winter, George. Just get to it. What's the deal? But what we don't see and what we don't understand are the years of effort, blood, sweat, tears, pain, research, dedication that went into building these stories up to how well regarded they are now, and how the fear of not being able to conclude all that in a satisfying way, not even for the readers, but for the sake of the art, for the story itself, is crippling. No amount of reassurance from fans or editors or whoever is going to change the fact that if Inoue isn't 100% satisfied with every last panel, every last line he draws, he is going to regret it for the rest of his life. To you, that might seem a bit overkill, but to him, to anyone who puts their soul into something, that is the bare minimum, and anything less would be a complete disgrace. So to answer the question I asked at the beginning, why did Inoue practically abandon Vagabond? Well, because perfecting your life's work, something many people consider a masterpiece, is the most frightening and daunting task a creative mind can face. It's not pathetic to be afraid in the face of that, nor should he be condemned for it. All artists and writers are people too. That fact doesn't change just because they reach some literary pinnacle. They don't suddenly become writing gods capable of overcoming monumental things the average person could not. Inoue is still that same kid, fresh out of high school, afraid his skills aren't good enough to pursue what he wants to do. He's also that same kid that experienced many of his happiest moments of his life on his high school basketball court. Basketball is possibly his biggest passion, and he has a deeply personal ongoing work about it to fall back on when he feels incapable of drawing Vagabond. And that's fine. Does that mean Vagabond will never return? No, absolutely not, and I guess it isn't really fair to say he abandoned it, though that makes for quite the catching title. Last year, with the release of the new Slam Dunk movie, Inoue did an interview in which he commented on the state of Vagabond. What he said is that he fully intends to return to the series and in the near future too. Whether that means a year, 2, 5, nobody can tell, but not all hope is lost. He hasn't just given up completely, but he has wavered under the immense pressure that comes with creating such a piece of work, which is a very normal human thing to do. So as fans, we should eagerly await the manga's return while showing some compassion for the person behind it.
That was fire as shit. Holy shit. That was a fucking video, man. That was a fucking video. Like, holy shit. I'm finna end stream. Oh, man.